Hey, greetings, Performance Reviews, where I give you the review from the technician's point of view. And today I have Amway Cleartrack. This is also known as a workhorse. This is a really interesting piece of history. So this is going to be a retrospective review. If you are looking for a review, whether or not you should buy this for day-to-day use or in a business, I'm going to go ahead and save you the trouble. That is not what this is, even though they still sell a refurbished version of this, and it is CRI approved. The dust emissions and the hassle of this machine just aren't really going to compare to other things in this segment. And by segment, I mean price. We're going to go ahead and give you a tour of the Amway / workhorse Cleartrack. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of show off its features and what it is. And I think if you are new to the channel, you should definitely check out our video on the Dyson story. That very much ties into this product. And there are some important details about the Dyson story that relate to this product. I'll try to link that in the description and at the end of this video for you to watch as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about its working vacuum. Let's talk about what it's like to use and what this machine is. The quick release cord hook would have been a feature for the time. This handle is also solid plastic. It's not really hollow besides what you see here. So it has a nice firm feeling to it. They also gave it a pretty heavy duty cord with 3 prongs. An unusual decision for the US, but I think the third prong is really a good thing on a bagless machine because you have so much static electricity on a bagless machine. I want to mention that the cord is just abnormally short on this machine. You'd be lucky if you got 20 feet if you unraveled it from the machine. You can also see up top that there is a clear airway, so you can tell if the cyclone or something is plugged and you can get to it if you need. And that was an issue. You would have to get to these occasionally. And as you can see, the cyclone actually comes off in the bin right here. Yeah, yucko, weird. But that's just the way that they did it back then. The early Dysons and the Phantoms were the same way. So when you put this back on, you have to line up the center part, and then you can use the knob. So let's show what's in the rear of this hook, which was definitely a feature for the day. And then this is the bin release right here. Why I don't usually like external hardware like a diverter valve that shows the symbolism right here between the rug with the brush roller symbol and this hose symbol are just great. I love that. And then this twist right here, and this is one of the parts I had to replace when I got this, is that there's felt in here, and just like the Taconi machines that have one of these, that felt wears out. So it's simple enough to replace, but yeah. Now you can also actuate it with your foot. That's what this little lever right here is supposed to be for. You're supposed to be able to do that. Hit it with your foot and put it into the hose mode. Now something Dyson would go away from is standard 1 1/4" accessories. So I really like that was just a standard 1 1/4". I'm just showing a vacuum flow tool for an example. The hose was this pliable rubber. Well, not as pliable as it used to be. And it was a slinky stretch hose. The hose basically is about 1.5 meters. It's not very long, but that's what you got. And then the hose, of course, tucked up and back very nicely when not in use. Just kind of clipped here. And I guess we should talk about the dirty part about this machine. Just like the original Dyson, filtration was not a priority. So what you got was an intake filter with a piece of foam and a microfilter. Now this would be fine if you had a HEPA exhaust filter, and that just goes in there, so it's easy to maintain. Again, you'd replace the microfilter and maybe wash the foam. But if we go to the front of the machine, it's just an exhaust from the motor. There is no filtration on this whatsoever past what I just showed you, which means half of this dust is just going right back into the air that you pick up. So this is a pretty dirty machine to use, and you wouldn't want to use it if you had any sort of allergies or asthma. It's probably questionable whether you should use this at all without a respirator. That would plague me later in the night. I would have to go take an allergy pill. I was so stuffed up after filming this one, folks. Now let's talk about the bottom side of the machine. First of all, there's a 12 amp circuit breaker, which will never be used. Exhaust from the motor, a hose, a little bit more centered than some other machines at the time, a wooden brush roller, and a big, looks like a mono wheel, but it's really two wheels in the middle. Then you have some nice soft rubber wheels here. There is no way to shut this brush roller off. This has a traditional rubber stretch belt inside it, and you can interchange the belt with a Panasonic U-belt. You know, you can also see the lever on here for the handle release was metal and had a small piece of Teflon here, so it was a little bit smoother. As you can see, that Teflon wasn't quite right, and it kind of wears unevenly. Now, if you couldn't tell, the machine has new filters in it. It's been recently serviced. It is as clean and good as it's going to get. And we're going to see how much working vacuum this has. People tout these as being very powerful. I have never noticed them to be anything special, but let's see what the working vacuum gauge says. So what we have here is 19 inches working vacuum and about 50 sealed. And what that means is this has as much working vacuum as something like a Kirby does, but it has a little bit more water lift. Kirby's usually have about 30 or 40 inches of water lift. So this has just enough power to get the job done. And it's a very mid-level cleaner. But back in the 90s, this would have been pretty good for its time. All right, well, we've got the studio microphone connected. You're gonna hear the real sound of this thing running. And we're gonna do our standard pickup test of breakfast cereal, fine sand, cat litter, and fresh pet hair. Let's see how this machine does. Well, I got the breakfast cereal. You can see where it left behind a little bit of sand. I don't know if that shows up, but you can actually feel it. It's like bouncing up off the carpet. Yeah, there's, oh wow, yeah, there's a bit of cat litter left. And then did pretty good on the hair. So I'm gonna say for a bagless vacuum, this might be one of the better bagless vacuums I've tried. I think the Miele still outdid it in terms of bagless, but this is probably the second best bagless machine that I've tested to date. Well, after vacuuming my basement, which is a large carpeted area, I can see why people like these. It does leave nice carpet lines, and it feels solid in the hand. However, it is still putting a lot of that dust and debris into the air. As I'm filming this, I am getting more and more congested. Not something I expected. Usually, vacuum dust doesn't usually bother me, but this one is particularly bad for some reason. I will say this has a very large bin. I'm very happy that this bin didn't fill up completely. So you have decent capacity here, and I'm most curious what the filter looks like. So yeah, you can see where there's stuff got caught in that filter. You can see there, but it hasn't started losing its efficiency yet. It's got a very large surface area in this filter, and I think that's where something like this kind of exceeds over a lot of modern bagless machines, because it doesn't have much restricting the airflow. It's a double cyclone and that's it. And the airway paths are very simple on this machine. So I think that's one of the reasons why it cleans so well. The other thing that was noted by a lot of people in our Discord server is that these brush rollers are fairly tangle resistant. Let's take a look. Yeah, no, that's the normal amount of hair tangled on the roller. That was just one use. Yeah, there's definitely hair tangled on here. So I'm going to say that's probably a myth, but it's definitely not the worst. It's not like an XL21 or something, but I'm not going to say it's going to compare to a Lin House or a Vessel work in terms of what got on there. But yeah, it's just like very straightforward. It's very basic, and I think there's something to be said by keeping it simple, stupid, which is what this attempts to do. Now, am I recommending this? No. This is bagless with no filtration. There's no reason you should be using this for anything other than collector purposes these days. The fact that this doesn't have any sort of exhaust filter is criminal in some jurisdictions, The machine is not easy to empty and clean the way the Cyclone is. When you take that dust cup off, that Cyclone remains in there and you have to wipe it off, clean it off by your hands, and you get dust everywhere, including on the exhaust. And I would like to show you that. However, it is blizzarding outside here in Colorado, and it is -5 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm not going outside in that right now to show you that, unfortunately. But you get the idea. If you've seen one bagless dump, you've seen them all. Again, this one's a little bit messy. So thanks for watching. If you like this sort of content, please give it a thumbs up. Share if you like it on your favorite vacuum forum. I'd love to get this video out there to some of the vacuum nerds who really like this, myself included. I'm really happy I have this machine. I've gotten to demonstrate it. If you have one of these, I'd love to hear from you in terms of like what you think of it. If you really like what we're doing, check out our Patreon. They get exclusive content first. Anyways, thanks for watching, folks. Have a wonderful day.